Good morning, everyone. My name is Pablo, and I am the CEO of Polimerbio. It's a pleasure to be here with you all presenting how we want to disrupt, to be a game changer when it comes to treat urethra restrictor. Polimerbio is a company that was founded back 6 years ago as a spin-off of the University of the Basque Country in Spain, and our purpose is to develop new biodegradable medical devices based on the knowledge that we have on polymers chemistry. Basically, we can play with the mechanical, with the physicochemical properties of these compounds in order to develop tailor-made solutions in the medical field. When we started discussions some years ago with different medical specialties, we ended up deciding to start in the field of urology, specifically with a disease that is called urethra restrictor. In this disease, there is an abnormal growth of aberrant tissue that is blocking the flow of urine from the bladder to the outside. Current management of the disease consists of two different steps. In the first one, the doctor is going to perform a surgery that is called urethrotomy, basically to cut, to remove that aberrant tissue that is restricting the flow of urine. And then the physician is going to place a Foley catheter in the urethra of the patients from 1 to 4 weeks. And here is the problem, because Foley catheters are associated to poor quality of life for the patients. As you can see in the picture, it's extremely bothersome for the patients to have in the urethra from 1 to 4 weeks this Foley catheter, and they cannot control when they want to urinate, for instance. Apart from that, from a medical perspective, Foley catheters are associated as well with urinary tract infections that may be serious in some cases, and which is even more relevant with restenosis. On average, half of the patients are going to enter into a vicious cycle of new stenosis from 2 to 4 years after this procedure, which is generating as well high long-term costs for the healthcare systems. So, what is the solution that we have developed for this patient? It's a tubular, corrugated, biodegradable intraurethral stent that is intended to be used for adult male patients to assist in the regeneration of the tissue after urethrotomy. In other words, we want to replace current catheters in the post-operative management of the patient, meaning that the patient will go to the hospital, the doctor will place our stent instead of the Foley catheter, and the patient will go home and will forget about the disease because the stent is going to biodegrade. We have successfully finished the preclinical trials. We have promising results, and last week we got the approval to start the first in-human multicenter clinical trial. Regarding IP, intellectual property, based on the PCT positive opinion that we got last year, we are now entering the national phases in the selected countries worldwide. So let me summarize what is our value proposition based on 4 pillars. Number 1, we are going to launch the first biodegradable stent to manage postoperative urethra restrictor. Number 2, because of our specific and corrugated design, and because of the high biocompatibility that the product has shown during clinical and preclinical trials, our objective is to avoid this vicious cycle of restenosis. Number 3, we are going to improve patients' quality of life because we have the potential to replace current catheters and their associated adverse effects. And number 4, this is a technique that is going to be quite reproducible, meaning that it's going to be easy to implement for most of the urologists. Looking at the market opportunity, just for your reference, there are around 160,000 urethrotomies in Europe per year. This is a market that is going to grow in the coming years. It's going to reach about $500 million by 2030, combining US and Europe. And this growth is going to be driven basically because of population aging and because there is a high demand for innovation in this field. Regarding competition, as I have mentioned, we are the first company developing a biodegradable stent for the urethra. I will focus on the Foley catheters because the vast majority of procedures are done by following and using these Foley catheters. We cannot compare against them when it comes to price because they are going to be cheaper than us. However, if we think about the cost effectiveness and the long-term savings, maybe we can play a role here if we can avoid this vicious cycle of re-stenosis. And we have designed all the clinical trials considering that the endpoints are going to improve the quality of life of the patients and that we are going to have a very good safety profile. Having a look at the go-to-market strategy, it involves securing a partnership model with a medical device company or a distributor that is interested not only in our first product, but in other biodegradable medical devices that we will develop in the future. Focusing on the main milestones for the upcoming years, in 2025, we would like to finalize the clinical trial so that we can get the CE mark and start launching in Europe. And in parallel, we will go to the FDA to ask for the PMA process that we have already assessed. Then in 2026, our objective is to expand operations, commercial operations in key European countries and gain market traction and expand, of course, our KOLs network. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have FDA clearance so that in 2027, we can start the launch in the US market and expand to other relevant countries in the world. Apart from that, let's evaluate a potential exit once we have enough traction. This wouldn't be possible, of course, with a committed team that has really strong capabilities when it comes to clinical, regulatory, preclinical, and now we are focusing our efforts towards the commercial side of the company, trying to incorporate new talent in this regard. Before finishing, let me highlight what are the reasons to believe in our project. First of all, our technology, this is the core of the company. It's easy to use, it's convenient for the patient, cost-saving and sustainable because we are decreasing the waste that is generated during surgeries. As I have mentioned as well, we have a team that is really engaged with our purpose to become the standard of care in urethral stricture. Let me say that we are reliable to some extent. We have very good preclinical data, and we can start recruiting patients for the first in-human clinical trial. And finally, we have a strong funding and track record because we have raised so far more than 3.6 million euros, combining equity, grants, and loans. Before moving to the next, let me say that we are officially kicking off a financing round that will be around 4 million euros. So I will be more than happy to have an offsite meeting with you to discuss potential partnerships or investment options. Thank you very much for your attention.